Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us on another episode of MLC Talk, powered by Willow Sports. Can't believe we're already on episode 4. I'm Aaman Patel, joined by Nate Hayes and Zee Zaidi, as always. And fellows, we've seen so much cricket down here at Grand Prairie. It feels like every day we have a doubleheader. We've only had one, which is crazy to think about. But my goodness, this table is shaking up nicely.
Yeah, well, on the subject of I can't believe, we are halfway through the group stages, right? Every team except for maybe Seattle has played 5 matches, one has played 6. So we're halfway through. And I think it's really starting to take shape. There are like the clear haves and have-nots.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Dallas leg has brought a change to the tournament, has brought a lot of changes, ebbs and flows. The wicket plays different, the ground plays differently. We're seeing a lot of chases. But at the same time, we saw Texas take a massive step back. And that was with Faf scoring out of his mind. But early on in the tournament, they looked like an amazing team. And the last 2 games before the game before we recorded this, they lost. And they looked like they were a bowler short each time. I couldn't really figure out what was missing with them because they check off the top order batting, which you need that power play. They check off the domestic scoring late, which seems to be a formula for winning. And Noor Ahmed wasn't taking wickets for 2 games, which was really surprising. And then coming into tonight's game, we saw a change in the team, and we saw Akil Hussain get in the team. And my goodness, it looked like he was the missing piece.
He gets into the game, and the Texas Super Kings, the one thing that stayed true, whether they're winning or losing, is that Faf can't win the toss. And so they were sent in to bat first, and things didn't go the way that they thought. Faf goes out quickly, and the Knight Riders would have thought that they were all over the Super Kings to start off the day.
It was a very, very shaky start, right? And our boy, we have a lot of boys in this tournament, but our boy Shadley was on fire, right? Basically decapitating the top of the order, right? He took the wickets of Faf, he took Sai, he took Stoinis, and Smith had a little bit of a good knock going there. But early on, they were completely on the ropes, right? And it looked like another loss, and it looked like, this was going to be a dry home stand for them. But then they started turning around, right? One of our boys, Shubham, came in, and what a knock he had, guys. Like, how was that?
Yeah, fantastic. And I said one of the big storylines coming into this is, can TSK rebound? What's the missing ingredient to their special sauce? Another big storyline was, my goodness, out of nowhere, LAKR is one win out of the playoffs. And if they had won today, and they got off to that great start because of Shadley, if they had won today, they leap into that 4th position over MI New York, who's lost a lot of close games. And that would have been really remarkable to see. The only 2 teams that LAKR has ever beaten in Major League Cricket are the Orcas, which they beat the last game, and then tonight, the Texas Super Kings. They beat them once in the past. So if they could get off to 2 wins in a row, who knows what could happen to that team? They could catch fire, and they've got a lot of very talented players.
And there's no question about it. For me, the turning point of that game was not only Shubham Ranjani, but Donovan Ferreira towards the end as well. His quick fire 43 off 21 to couple that with Shubham and propelled, I thought, the Texas Super Kings to a score probably 20 runs higher than where they should have been. LAKR bowled well enough to really keep the Super Kings close to 170. And once they got over 190, you felt it was going to be a tough ask because this is a top order that's at a short of runs. And in Major League Cricket, what do we know? You have to score runs, and you have to do it at the top of the order. Udmut Chand's had 2 half-centuries on the year, but Alex Hales and Nitish Kumar have not been very productive. And once you saw those 2 go quickly, there was almost a staggering halt of Udmut Chand, and then things fell apart very quickly, Z.
It wasn't quite a collapse, right? Because they held in there till late in the game, right? It sort of kind of like slowly slipped away from them. But yeah, it became pretty clear early on that this was not their match. We have to give shout out to Faf and his captaincy, but also to the TSK bowlers, right? Who, Noor Ahmed finally found his mojo, right? The Dallas pitch just wasn't working for him, and he finally took a couple of wickets. I think that was clutch. I think, obviously, we were very excited to see Donovan Ferreira in the attack, and on the first ball took a beautiful wicket. So I think look, Texas, they did it on both sides. They found the formula on both sides, and like I said earlier, there are the haves and the have-nots right now on this table, right? You've got San Francisco, you've got Washington, you've got Texas. They're clearly up there, and we'll talk about that more. But I think this was the match that sort of clearly separated one group from another.
Well, it's been a fiery leg of Major League 2025 down in Dallas, and the points table hasn't changed much, but maybe just a couple of tweaks here and there. San Francisco, they still are sitting pretty undefeated at the top of the table. They are followed by Texas, who jump ahead of Washington thanks to a big net run rate boost. Washington, of course, in third place, and New York rounds out the playoffs in fourth, and then LAKR and Seattle are on the outside looking in, and they're going to need a lot of work to make up ground on the top four. We'll see all of what happens in the future, but first, how do we get to this position? Nate Hayes lets us know.
And we'll start with Game 10. Faf du Plessis' century in 50 balls set an excellent platform for TSK.
Only the second man in the MLC to score multiple hundreds.
But 49 runs in the final 6 overs left them feeling short at 198 for 5. In the second innings, the Unicorns confirmed TSK's fears by chasing down the target on the first ball of the 17th over, losing only 3 wickets along the way. Matthew Short, in the absence of injured Corey Anderson, blasted 61 from 29 in his first innings of the season. And Finn Allen kept up the form of his life, scoring 78 off 35.
And the second highest successful chase in Cognizant MLC comes here at the Grand Prairie Stadium.
Game 11, a productive power play of 70 runs without loss set up New York nicely, with Quinton de Kock scoring 55 from 34 and Michael Bracewell finishing the innings with 42 from just 24 not out. The final score of 188 for 4 wasn't enough for Washington, as in the chase, Michael Owen's furious contribution of 60 from 26 balls set the tone for Washington, and their rapid run rate would overcome 8 wickets to chase the target with 4 balls to spare.
Washington Freedom get up with the celebrations of the lights, the fireworks here at Grand Prairie.
Game 12, Dre Russ took 3 wickets to help LAKR hold the Aaron Jones-led Seattle Orcas to 177 for 6. And in Grand Prairie, 177 is just not going to cut it. Unmuk Chan made sure of that with 86 from 54, and fellow domestic Saif Badar added 54 from 32.
Out of here. And the ball disappears way over long off with the breeze.
LA won for the first time in 2025 and could move into striking range of the playoffs with a New York loss to the Unicorns on Monday. Game 13 was Sunday's nightcap. This one was the best game of the weekend, with Faf blasting 69 runs off 31 balls.
Not as he envisioned, but another 50 for Faf du Plessis. He continues his onslaught here in Dallas.
And Calvin Savage and Shubham Ranjani finishing the inning strong for TSK. Mitchell Owen kept things from getting worse with 3 wickets for 33 runs in his 3 overs for Washington. And Owen made things better in the second innings, opening with 89 runs from 52 balls, while USA's Andres Cruz piled on 80 from 40 not out. The chase went down to the final over, and Adam Milne took 3 wickets while trying to stop the bleeding, but Washington couldn't be stopped.
4th one in a row for the Washington Freedom this season, and the highest successful run chase in the history of Cognizant MLC.
Game 14. Finn Allen may have sat out on Monday, but San Francisco's batting didn't take the night off. Matthew Short continued his hot start to the competition, scoring 91 from 43. Jake Frazier-McGurk proved once again to be an incredible ball-striking partner with 64 from 26, and Sanjay Krishnamurthy and Hassan Khan added a 49-run partnership to close the innings out for a massive 246 for 4.
247 is the target for MI New York.
Even with QDK and Aaman Patel teaming up for 119 runs in the first wicket partnership, MI New York never really threatened the target, falling 47 runs shy at the end.
Nate, the best in the business at breaking things down. But Nate, what are we looking forward to coming up? What's the game for you to watch for as we enter the end of the leg here in Dallas?
Well, we got nothing but important games on the docket right now. But I'm going to say I'm looking most forward to Thursday night's game between Los Angeles Knight Riders and the Washington Freedom. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, LA desperately needs to win. They've never beaten Washington before. Washington looks great. LA's desperate. If they can win this game, it can catapult them into the rest of the season. And number two, Washington Freedom are dominating right now, 4 wins in a row. Are they going to let it down a little bit? Or are they going to keep their foot on the gas? Knowing a Ricky Ponting team, I think they're going to keep their foot on the gas. I think we're going to see the best of both teams on Thursday.
All righty, he's got Thursday. Zee, where are you looking forward to?
Matt, I'm going to give the predictable answer. Sunday, El Clasico, Part 2, TSK against MI. Again, the first match in San Francisco was a real screamer. That was an incredible match. It's going to be another one again. It's going to be in Texas. The whistles will be blaring, and it's got a lot riding on it, right? Texas is in that bottom of the top half, and MI is trying to fight its way into that 4th playoff spot, so they both have a lot to play for.
Yeah, and I'll pick the low-hanging fruit as well. I'll take San Francisco and Washington to start off that Saturday doubleheader, 1 versus 2, and a rematch of that very first game. So much to look forward to in this final leg in Dallas.
Guys, this has been the tournament of the domestic players. They have been on fire as a group, and we were joined today by one of the leading ones, Calvin Savage, who had a match later in the day, but was kind enough to join us to talk about what's been working for him and his team so far. So, Calvin, let's talk about how the season's going. Tell me what's been clicking and going right for the team.
Yeah, I think it's a team that gets along very well. We've got great backroom staff, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows what a hell of a coach that we have. Creates such a relaxed environment, which allows people to perform at their best.
So talk about you in specific. Something's going really well for you. What helped you find your form this year?
When I moved here and I gave up my career in South Africa, and I also made a decision with myself before season 1 that I wasn't going to look back on my career one day when I'm in my 40s or whatever. And I've kind of dropped all those insecurities, and I'm like, if it doesn't go my way, then so be it. But I'm going to have the best time possible out here. Still, obviously, prepare the best I can to do well, because playing well goes hand in hand with having fun. But I've just tried to drop all that worries about how things are going to go and just have the best time that I possibly can. That's really all I've changed.
Let's talk about how your domestic colleagues have been performing and how good you're feeling about the team.
Yeah, feeling very good about it. All of us who's had to get out there and do their thing have all done their bit where it's been needed. I don't think anyone hasn't performed yet. I think everyone has done really well. There's also a hell of a lot of competition within our local structure as well in TSK, where
you do have global stars on your team. How are they blending in with the domestics?
It helps when all of them are really great guys as well. Pretty much half the overseas have been with us for like 3 seasons. I've got to know them really well. I already knew Faf in South Africa. I think I played with Dev when I was like 19 years old. We used to play together. So having the connection with them is almost like a bridge between you and the other players that they know really well. So that kind of sets up like you've been old mates for years very quickly, even though you've only recently met some of these guys. That makes a big difference that everyone just gets along really well.
We wish you the best of luck tonight and for the rest of the season.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Zee.
Inspiring stuff from Calvin. And again, guys, this season 3 really feels like the season of the domestics, because there's so many teams that have been carried by our domestics, even with a plethora of international stars. So let's talk about some of the guys who we're really excited about and proud of. Nate, who's a domestic who's been lighting it up that you're impressed by?
Well, one of the things I absolutely love, 2 of our favorite guys, 2 guys who can score big at the end, playing in the same 11 for TSK, and that's Shubham Ranjani and Calvin Savage, who you just saw. When we saw Shubham get drafted into this team, the question was, is he depth for Calvin, or is he going to play alongside him? We all 3 of us know that he's good enough to play in any 11 in this league. So it's really happy. It makes me really happy to see the 2 of them batting together and the 2 of them performing so well in that role and in similar roles later in the innings. We saw Shubham come in a little bit earlier today to try to save the innings, and he did an amazing job. We've seen him and Calvin do similar jobs in minor league cricket, being able to bat anywhere that the team needs them. And I'm just so impressed with the fact that they're going double guns on domestics at that role.
Aaman, who do you got?
Yeah, I'll pick two as well, and I'll pick two USA guys on the national team. Starting with the captain, Aaman Patel's been brilliant. A couple half centuries for him this season, and really the guy up top of the order for MI New York that's carried the load and the burden of run scoring, which is shocking considering that top three consists of Quinn de Kock and Nicholas Budun. And while Budun is figuring things out, Quinn de Kock has, and Aaman Patel has been the one real solid force for them. And then I'll look at Saiteji Mukamala, who we weren't all sure was going to get to game here this season, but has consistently played at 3, and he had a string of 3 consecutive 30s. I talked to him. He's hungry for more. He wants to convert, but he's showing why he's one of the best young batters in all the country.
Yeah, look, I'll throw in a couple who I'm very excited about, in addition to Shubham, and everyone, right? One, Hassan Khan. I can't get enough of this kid, right? He is by many metrics the highest performing domestic that we have. He won the Bar King last year. I think he's up for it again this year on both sides. And there's no stopping this guy. And also one of our perennial favorites, Andries Gos. I was so happy that against TSK, he finally this year made his mark. He had at a half century, 80 off 45. And we all know he can do that, right? And we know he can do that consistently. And I am looking to him to do a lot more this tournament. Yeah. Any other domestics that we're excited about, because there's no shortage of them. Nate, anyone else?
Aaman mentioned Aaman Patel, number 2 right now in runs. This is incredible to me. You touched on it a little bit, Aaman, but number 2 in a league where we've just seen Faf du Plessis bat out of his mind for a couple of games. We've seen Finn Allen going crazy. We've seen Quinton de Kock scoring. We've seen so many big names scoring, and Aaman Patel is number 2 in this list. That just blows my mind. I think it's worth rehashing just how impressive that is. We saw Aaron Jones get a good score the other day. Another guy, Unmuk Chand. We probably don't talk enough about him. A lot of people talk a lot about Unmuk Chand, but he has been playing very well as well. So it's I'm a little bit worried about Nitish Kumar's form right now. I really feel for him, because that guy is a gun player.
Yeah, and I think the spinners too, they haven't gotten a lot of help the bowlers, but Harmeet Singh and Ash Kunjage both proving to make some impacts here in Dallas. And Zee, I think you said it perfectly. It's been the year of the domestics. They're carving out roles for themselves, and year 3 is proving to be that. And I think years 4 and beyond, you might be looking at 6 domestics in an 11 pretty time soon.
Yeah, and one more thing, just to squeeze this in, 2 spinners in the same attack for MI New York the other day that are domestics. How cool is that?
It has absolutely been the year of the domestics, but my goodness, these internationals are so friggin' good. And we saw it on day 1, and we're continuing to see it throughout the tournament. Nate, I'm going to start with you. Who are the international standouts for you so far through Major League 25?
Well, there's so many good ones to mention. There's Xavier Bartlett. There's Finn Allen having the season of his career. But Mitchell Owen, to me, I mean, this guy is in the top 3 in wickets and runs at the same time. He's just been absolutely fantastic with the bat and the ball. And he might be the best player of the season right now if you just consider the overall impact of a single player in this league. But coming into this season, he doesn't bowl a ton in T20 cricket. In 41 total career T20s, including this season, he's taken 19 wickets. 9 of those have happened in this Major League Cricket season. It's just crazy how they've been able to rely on him out of nowhere almost. With the ball, we know what he's capable of with the bat. We know that he scores fast. He scores at 188 or something in his career, and he's scoring even better than that right now. But man, he has really propelled Washington. He has answered those questions that we had about Washington's different configuration this season.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and I said it on call last night. I agree with you. Could be the MVP of the league at the end of the year. How about you, Zee? What are you looking at? Who are the internationals that stick out to you?
Look, I'd say a couple. One, I gotta start with Matt Short. I mean, how awesome has he been on both sides, right? He had a great knock against TSK. I believe it was 63. I could have it off by a couple runs, but that was huge. And he's bowling as well. His spin bowling is spot on, and he's a leader. He's filled in for Corey Anderson, and by all accounts has been a great captain. The other one I'm actually excited to see is QDK. He came back this year with MI. He's had a couple of half centuries, and he really looks like the QDK that we know.
I think Michael Bracewell's been so underrated on the year for that MI New York team that, again, has just been struggling with the bat. And here's a guy who comes in with from the left, side with Nicholas Buddha and QDK, and he's almost been the best left-handed batter on the team. And that's just how good he's been. And then with the ball, he comes in and he bowls his overs. It's been tough, bowling to these guys who are striking this way as the off spinner. But I really enjoy the way he's played. And then two seamers that I found really enticing. Haris Rauf, what he's done with the Unicorns. He's been so vital for them. He's the leading wicket taker on the season. And then Adam Milne for the Texas Super King. He's been a real answer to them. And I think his pairing with Nandre Berger has been really exceptional and has solved a lot of problems for them. Is there anyone else? I know we mentioned a lot of names here, but is there anyone else that we haven't talked about, Nate?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're coming out of the Oakland Coliseum, which has all these baseball vibes. And, one of the most famous pairs were the Bash brothers in the 80s, in the late 80s, with Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire. And I think there's no more Bash brothers in cricket right now than Finn Allen and Jake Frazier McGurk. This duo is absolutely insane. And then, Finn Allen sat out the last game, and we saw Matt Short take his place and do incredibly well.
Look, I'm an older guy. I love the older guys. Kyron Pollard has had a couple of awesome knocks, right? And you just can never count him out. They didn't come close to the Unicorns, but he had a great undefeated knock towards the end. So these guys are legends, and it's great to see him play.
Hey, he played a 700 T20 in that game too, and I think everyone was on the edge of their seat thinking we might have another Kyron Pollard classic coming our way. But speaking of being around for a long time, someone who carries a vast amount of experience, Liam Plunkett, he did us the pleasure of sitting down with you, Zee, and got to have a conversation with him. Let's go to that now.
Let's talk first of all about the Unicorns. My God, 5-0, massive score after massive score. What's clicking with the team?
Obviously, you have the brilliance of our batsmen have been breaking records and putting some amazing partnerships together. As a team, we've strategized really well in team selections and matchups. And I think we've built this over the last few years, right? We've got a good team bond here. Hassan and Sanjay, young guys coming up, and they just train so well, and they're very skillful. And Sanjay, and they're very dedicated. They're very, very dedicated in what they do. They make the best of whatever situation they have.
You have been the weapon that the Unicorns have used whenever there's like a very set batter. Monank was looking ridiculous, right? Monank's in incredible form. You take his wicket. Tell us about that.
Monack was going well, and it was okay. Well, he kind of looks to run down the wicket and give himself room. So after the first over, I came back and was like, well, how do we shut him down? How do we use the pitch? And that's what you kind of look to do, right? It's you try and put the ball in an area where they struggle. And that's what I love to do. One side was long, and it's like let's use that as my advantage, try and close him off. And a kind of a slow ball bouncer kind of worked. He tried to use his, obviously, he tried to step away and hit it over the offside with not much pace on it. And it obviously worked to my advantage yesterday.
You're 40. And I say that admiringly as someone who's older than 40, right? So I could say that. I'm not calling you old. I'm calling you young, but still. So do you feel like you're at a stage in your career where you've managed to maintain your physical form and you have all the wisdom that you've accumulated over the course of your career?
I mean, in terms of preparing for this, is I don't play any club cricket, no real minor league cricket. So it's like, how do you prepare to play in Major League Cricket? You can do as much as you can. I feel I'm training now in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and I'm lucky that Cornet Drive came from LA, and obviously Cornet, so we kind of held ourselves accountable and we would train together. And I think it's not putting too much pressure on yourself. I mean, I'm going into this without playing any cricket, but I know my skill set.
Good luck with the rest of the season, Liam.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.